wonderful pleasure to introduce our parents. But before I do that, we have our wonderful director of admissions with us on this call, Mary Claire Cullum, Mary Claire, if you want to say a few words. I know you have another meeting after this, so yeah.
I do, but you know, Sandro, that I love meeting with current parents and incoming parents. There's just something about it that I think is so special. So I want to say thank you to all of you current and our guests on the call for joining us. This evening, I'm Mary Claire Cullum, and you have gotten hundreds and hundreds of emails and letters from me. So now you can put the name together with the face. And I apologize for so much correspondence, but we are true believers in a lot of communication. And all I want to say to you is that one of the reasons that I'm so excited this year because our incoming class is very, very special. I've met so many of the students. They are just amazing. They're great, really high GPAs. And I personally know from all the years in higher ed that behind every great student, there are great parents. Trust me, that's just the way it is. So a special congratulations to you, and I can't tell you how excited we are to welcome all of our community and our students back to campus this year. It's going to be an amazing year. I won't take up any more of your time because this is all about the wonderful Stillman School of Business, but thank you all for letting me say hello. And I do have to join another event tonight, so I'm going to jump off the call in just a few minutes. Thank you.
Mary Claire. Thank you to your team. As always, every year they're recruiting the best and the brightest. And I know, Mary Claire, you mentioned that this might be the largest incoming class in Seton Hall's history. So
The
kudos to
largest and the smartest, the highest GPA ever. So we are really, really excited. So all of these new students, current students, are going to be really in great company. So I'm just so enthusiastic about the fall.
Thank you. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our wonderful parent panel. I'll start with Bernadette Lafrance. If you want to share a little bit about who you are, your student, their major, and we'll go down the line.
Thank you, Sandro. My name is Bernadette Lafrance, and my son John is entering his junior year at Seton Hall in the Buccino Honors Leadership Program. He is a double major in finance and sports management with an analytics certificate as well. And to say that his entire experience at Seton Hall has been phenomenal would be an understatement. Right from actually before he even decided to attend Seton Hall, the scholarship weekend that we attended, he had his interview for Buccino that weekend as well. And that entire weekend, being able to attend classes, meet the professors, meet some of the upperclassmen, the other students at the school, walk around campus, just get a feel for the entire true family atmosphere. It's not a cliche at Seton Hall. It really and truly is a family atmosphere. And he picked up on that right away. And he had some phenomenal choices to choose from for schools. And he was struggling with it a little bit. And I said to him, all of your years working hard in school, this is what it's for. This is to have all these options is wonderful. And it was that weekend that we spent at Seton Hall. He had been there a couple other times before, but that weekend where he got to fully experience the entire the true Seton Hall experience with all of the teachers and the students was on the ride home. He said, Mom, I've made my decision and I really want to attend Seton Hall.
Thank you, Bernadette, for sharing. Lisa, would you like to introduce yourself and share a little bit about your family?
So my name is Lisa Youngberg. I actually have 4 children right now at the university. My oldest daughter graduated from the School of Ed in 2018, and she just started back in a master's in leadership education program for this summer. She started back. So she's back. My twin boys are juniors. They are in the Stillman School of Business. Andrew is part of the Buccino leadership program. His major is finance, IT, and he's got some other certificate. I don't know. Every time I turn around, he's adding some other specialty to his majors, which is great. Matthew is currently in the Stillman School of Business, majoring in finance and marketing. He's considering wealth management. So Matt's got a lot of things he's doing too. And my youngest, Amanda, is a rising sophomore at Stillman. She's majoring in marketing, advertising, and she's also doing graphic design through the School of Communication and the Arts. So she's loving that. I'm a Seton Hall alum, so I didn't think anyone would be going to Seton Hall because when I went, it was a commuter school, and when my oldest picked it, she just felt right at home, and that seemed to be it for everyone else. As they walked on campus, they just felt that this was the place for me. They applied everywhere within a 3-hour radius. We live in Central Jersey, and they just kept coming back to Seton Hall is where I feel my family is. So I have 3 right now, undergrads, and 1 in the grad program. So keep me busy.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for sharing your wonderful family with Seton Hall. It's an incredible family.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Beth, I don't know, Joe, I know you mentioned Joe is there as well, but hi, Beth, if you want to share a little bit about you and your family.
Okay. Hi, I'm Beth Murphy. My husband Joe is with me, but he's on puppy duty. We have a 3-month-old puppy that occasionally is quite rambunctious this hour of the night. So if you hear her, I apologize right now in the background. We have 2 children at Seton Hall. Our son Patrick is a rising junior. He is an accounting major, looking at possibly doing the 5-year program with accountancy with the MBA. Our daughter Erin is a rising sophomore. She also is an accounting major, looking at the 5-year MBA program, and she's also in the Leadership Institute. Both children chose Seton Hall for different reasons. Patrick chose Seton Hall because of the opportunities being in the New York City, greater New York City area, offers for job possibilities. Employability. He really loved the fact that it was so close to so much going on in the business community in North Jersey. Erin chose Seton Hall for a couple different reasons. One, the leadership program. She was very, very impressed with the leadership program. As a graduate of the class of 2020, she was a spring senior going through the pandemic when those choices had to be made, and was thoroughly impressed with Seton Hall's transition quickly and very, very efficiently during the pandemic when they had to do the virtual. They did a great job, and she felt very comfortable and was going to be, knew that going forward that Seton Hall was going to do a great job during this transition time that everything had to do. And we've been very pleased. Both students, both kids were very happy with the model and all the opportunities that Seton Hall gave them during this unusual academic time. And I have to say, as a parent, I was very impressed with the creativity that Seton Hall came up with to keep the kids involved and try to get them connecting on a more personal level. It's hard, when there's so many rules in place put up by higher up, and Seton Hall did a great job with trying to think outside the box and have fun, like fire pits on a Friday and Saturday night on the green with your friends. That's great things. So thank you again.
Thank you, Beth. Thank you for sharing. Angelos, would you like to share a little bit about your family?
Sure. Hi, Sandro, and hello, parents. I have 2 children that attended Seton Hall. My daughter graduated last year. She is a speech pathology major. I know we're talking about business here, but just wanted to give you the background over there. Seton Hall provided an exceptional location and program that is very rare, because you can start through the bachelor's program and go right into the master's. Not many schools have this for speech pathology. And she is now working in the nearby school system of New Milford. She had a wonderful experience on campus, and I think that helped pave the way because we live so close to the university as well. There was a lot of interaction between my wife and I, and even my son, who was 4 years difference with Stephanie, spending time with her, meeting her friends, getting comfortable and familiar with the campus and the programs there, which kind of paved the way for him when he had to make his choice. Stephanie knew from a young age that she was going to get into this special education and speech pathology. My son took a while to really come into what he wanted, but ultimately he did apply, was accepted to a number of universities. But I think it was the uh, reputation and the leadership people, the directors within the Stillman School, and his acceptance into the leadership program that really made a difference. What they have done for the students, and especially the pioneer of this whole program with our dear friend Mike Reuter, who had recently retired from the program. What a heart this gentleman had, and what he did for the students to really engage with them. This tradition is certainly something that we want to see continue within this program. It's so beneficial to the students, and it really encouraged and motivated them, inspired them in so many ways. My son Nicholas also participated in some certification programs outside of the university, which ultimately helped him land internships since his freshman year. During his sophomore year, my son experienced a very serious GI problem, which caused him to have to leave in October of his sophomore year. And I cannot tell you how supportive the deans of the school were in helping us and keeping us informed of how to go about this transition. Him having to take a year off medical leave. He did recover. He was treated at the Mayo Clinic and came back strong, because every semester was a dean's list. He's still on dean's list, and his most recent internship turned into Bayer offering him a position as a part-time worker. So he worked through the school year at Bayer as well, and currently is working at Siemens Healthcare this year. Data analytics and his IT combined with the marketing has been really a strong program for him, and we're very thankful for the directors of the program who have greatly helped, plus the help center in the business school, to guide Nicholas in everything that he's doing. So thank you. Sandra has been an incredible person to work with, very supportive and very involved with the parent programs. And as we have also opened up our home to incoming freshmen as well, it's a wonderful experience to meet people face to face. And I look forward to more face to face. I mean, the virtual that Nicholas did in school helped him, because ultimately many of the jobs that he had here in the last year and a half or so had to be virtual. So it really helped him prepare and feel comfortable interacting with his supervisor and the team colleagues virtually. Thank you.
Thank you, Angelos. And again, thank you and your wife for all that you've done for Seton Hall. And as you can see, we have an amazing panel. So let's go right to it. If you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand or share it in the chat. This is the reason why we're here. We're here to answer any questions. So I'll give you an opportunity. If not, I have a good amount of questions that I could ask the panel. So, but I want to give you the first opportunity. So anyone that's in the virtual room, please raise your hand. Don't be bashful. All right, Maria, go right ahead. Just unmute yourself and ask a question.
Good evening, and thank you for this evening. My son is Kenneth Farry, and he will be starting as a freshman in September. You know, he's very independent, and I'm, you know, probably a helicopter parent, but I'm trying not to be as he comes off to college. And as being a part of, I was very involved in his high school career. He went to Chaminade High School in Mineola here on Long Island. So they were very involved, get the parents involved. So I'd love to know, I'm very excited that you're there for the parents. So my question basically is how involved, as far as he already picked his classes, he worked beautifully with his advisor, to ensure that they are making those right choices. They have you there because we're not there. But how involved should we be in helping them with their course selections, or is that already mapped out for the most part? I wanted to, he says, Mom, it's not like the 80s when you went to school and you had to, get your manual out, it was 6 feet tall and had to highlight all your classes, and you got to the bursar office and nobody was, all those classes were gone, like, you're right, it's not, but so how involved should we be in that part of their school life?
Bernadette, would you like to tackle that first question?
Welcome to Seton Hall. Your family, you're in a really wonderful place. And I too, I have to say, come from a similar background as well of being very involved. And it was hard for me to kind of think about letting go. And the wonderful thing about Seton Hall is that obviously, as you can see just by tonight, there is parent involvement. With regards to picking the schedule, the school does a phenomenal job, and I'm not sure what your son's major is, but my son being in the Buccino program, he has a student mentor and his advisor. They have done a great job in helping him to pick his courses and his path going forward. He talked to us about it, but he really had full support at the school. He didn't necessarily need to talk to us about it other than being excited, telling us that he had decided on doing the double major and the analytics certificate, and the teachers are incredibly supportive as well. For the first time, all his middle school and high school years, he had taken Spanish, and when he got to Seton Hall, before he even got there, he had decided that he wanted to take Italian because my husband's family is Italian, even though our last name is Lafrance. He's from a big Italian family, and he thought, oh, I've taken Spanish all these years, I'd love to learn Italian as part of our whole family's heritage. And he's loved it and has had a fantastic experience. And his professor is, has been after him. She wants him to minor in Italian, and has been wonderfully supportive. And it, wasn't necessarily something that was on his radar per se. And with his double major and everything, he can't fit it in. But so in addition to their advisors, the professors themselves really get to know the students and, reach out to them and help to guide them into maybe something that they haven't thought about. So far from my experience, the school has done a phenomenal job, and we haven't had to be hands-on in making sure everything's okay. So far, so good. He's been in a great place and is on track for all of his entire program.
Thank you, Bernadette. Anyone else on the panel would like to add?
What I would add is that, like Bernadette indicated, the support staff, the directors, the mentors, and so forth, they have a good feel for matching up the classes with what the potential desires of the student are in terms of their career path. And naturally, during the business school, there's opportunities for them to change if they want to go to finance, if they want to go to marketing or entrepreneurship. There's a lot of options there, but there's also electives. And I think it was mostly with the electives that my son was coming to me to just bounce some things off. And one of them was like a speech class. I'm saying, why do you need speech? Oh, I want to be able to present better. I want to be able to feel comfortable in front of a group to gather my thoughts, how I'm going to present. So I said, okay, that sounds fine. We had these 2 or 3 choices there, and we talked about it. But the core classes, I think, were pretty much solid. I don't think I was going to argue or contest what the directors were suggesting for him in terms of his business core, but I think that was about the extent of it, some of the electives.
Thank you. I guess I'll just work on baking cookies and sending them.
Okay. I like chocolate chip.
Yeah.
I would also say that the peer advisors and the faculty advisors do such a great job helping the kids figure out what they like and what their strong suits are, and directions that the kids had never thought about before based on those interests and likes. And so I was always impressed when my guys would say, here are the 5 or 6 classes that I'm looking at, and there was always one on there where I'm like, wow, that's why, that's interesting that you would want to do that. And they're like, oh yeah, the so-and-so said that I might like that. And to me, that was really important because I felt like they were asking questions that I would ask after pouring through the course catalog. And I'm so happy to not be pouring through the course catalog. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else has any questions? Any parents? Don't be bashful. We're here to help. Well, I have a question. I know we received a lot of questions from parents of incoming students, and this is a very general question, but I think it's important. And this is for the whole panel. What is some general advice you would give to our parents that are here for their students to be successful at Seton Hall? Maybe just one advice that you felt that's been helpful to your student to be as successful as they have been at Seton Hall. And Beth, would you like to tackle that question?
Get involved.
Probably the biggest piece of advice that we gave our children when they left for college was, get involved. I mean, this is your stepping stone to your career. There's so many different choices out there, clubs and intramurals. It doesn't always have to be career minded, but get out there. Like some of the other parents were saying, talking to other students, finding out what classes they liked, finding out what their majors are going to be, can really help you make decisions about, adding majors, adding certificates, looking at classes, finding out professors, finding out just things to do on the weekend. These are 4 serious years, but they can be a lot of fun. And Seton Hall has a lot of opportunities, and take advantage of all of them.
Great advice. Bernadette, any advice you'd like to share?
Almost exactly the same as Beth said. Embrace the entire Seton Hall experience and encourage the kids to get involved, to join clubs. And for all of the incoming freshman parents on there, at the beginning of the year, if we're kind of going back to a normal setting, Sandro, they have very close to the beginning of the year, they'll have a like a club fair where they have tables set up and they have all representatives of all the different clubs that are out there, and the kids can kind of walk through and they can talk to the other students that are a part of it. They can see everything that's out there. And I was really proud of John. He tends to you would think he's not shy, but he can be a little bit. And right off the bat, he had joined, I think, 4 clubs. And in addition to being a part of Buccino, I think for the incoming freshmen, you want to encourage them to get involved and be a part of something, because I think that creates a little bit of a comfort zone for them, and it gives them a natural opportunity to meet other students and to just be a part of something, a part of the university. And they've so many things, the extracurricular, the intramurals, the sports, but all the other clubs, and just join them. And the great thing about them too is that it's not a huge commitment. Obviously, if you've got stuff going on with school and you can't attend the meeting, that's not a big deal. But you go there, and just because you sign up because you're interested in something doesn't mean that they have to stay with it. If for some reason they go there and they think, oh, well, this particular club is not really for me or not what I thought it was, no big deal. They can, go to something else, and definitely just embrace all of Seton Hall.
Thank you, Bernadette. Yes, and it is exactly true. There's what's called the involvement fair, which Bernadette touched upon. It's usually in the first week of class, where all the organizations and clubs, all the student organizations and clubs are on the university green, weather permitting, and it's a great opportunity for students. Especially, I think one of the things that students are one of the things they're fearing is also, acclimating and getting to meet others, right? And meeting friends. And so this is a great opportunity for your students to meet others that are like-minded and have the same interests. So organizations or clubs, there's so many of them. Naturally, if there's not one that's there that they like, they could actually create their own organization and club. They just need to submit an application, which we've as you see, every year we grow them because students are saying, well, you don't have this, maybe I can start that. So it's a great opportunity for your students to feel like they're part of the Seton Hall community outside of the classroom. So yeah, definitely. Go ahead, Lisa, go ahead.
I would also say if you live close to campus, don't let your kids come home on the weekends, especially during the first few months on campus. There's so much going on every single day. The university has something different, something fun, movies, sporting events, fun games, meeting people. And all of my children wound up meeting lots of different people from different groups. And so who likes to go to the fitness center, who wants to play basketball, who wants to go to the soccer game. And I think it's really important for them to realize that they can make their own fun. There's so much to do, but if they start to come home early on, that becomes a pattern, and that's not necessarily the best thing for them. That would be mine. It's hard because you want them to come home, you miss them so much, but when you do see them in October for Parents Weekend, it's an amazing transformation of the growth that the kids have had. So I think that's really important and hard.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa. Definitely.
Yeah,
Angela?
I mean, the bonding that takes place when they join clubs, especially because there's so many clubs, they're bound to find something, and it's just a matter of controlling it because you don't want to overwhelm yourself. I mean, homework is important. There are assignments. There's a lot of things that go on. And I'll tell you, even those who are in the leadership program have a tight bond and they get together. Because I live close to home, again, my son was living on campus because it was important for him to have the campus experience. But I would also invite Nicholas and his friends over to the house. We would barbecue for the kids, you know, keep them going. I would also drive them to places. So if they wanted to get some kids together, we would go to concerts down in Asbury Park or in different places. And just the convenience of having a car, especially freshman year when nobody is able to have a car on campus. So I'm very close with the family. I like keeping in touch. We would talk. But I mean, having the school experience and having them grow and establish solid friends throughout the years. I mean, my daughter from her freshman year and her freshman roommate, you know, they're still so close. They were at at her wedding last week, and they had just a blast. They had a big pirate table there, so it's a wonderful experience, and just take advantage of it. Um, the kids also spent a lot of time in New York. I mean, it's not a place I would go to now with all the craziness going on there, but hopefully things will settle down and come back into control and become a safe place again.
Thank you. Any other questions from our parents of incoming students? Please raise your hand or you can type your question. I know there was a question about legacy moving this year. Unfortunately, we will not be hosting Legacy Moving this year just because we just didn't know specifically if we would be in person about a couple of months ago until Governor Murphy eased the restrictions. And so in regards to planning, we just decided it was just not enough time to get Legacy Moving. And Legacy Moving was basically, we welcomed alumni legacy families like Lisa's family for freshman students to move in a day early on campus. So hopefully we'll be able to do it next year. So thank you for the question. There is a question in the chat from Wendy Jackalo. Hopefully I'm saying your last name correctly, and thank you for sharing. Will more than one parent be able to go to campus to move students in, or is it limited? Thank you. Great question. Anyone?
Well, I guess based on how things used to be, I mean, practically the whole family went to help move things. I don't know if there's any restrictions on campus this year. That's the only
None,
thing
none
I just don't.
whatsoever. You can bring the whole family.
Hmm. Yeah, it was a family party.
Maybe want to share a little bit about the move-in experience. If anyone wants to share, I know it's basically a day where we get the whole Seton Hall community to help our families move their students in. So if anyone want to share a little bit about their experience in move-in.
I can share our family because we've done it both with restrictions and without restrictions. With restrictions, it was just myself and my daughter, which was fine. My husband could bring us up, help us get everything out of the car. Even with two of us, those really big bins that they still were able to provide made it really easy, even though it was our daughter who was moving in, who seemed to have a lot more stuff than a son. It still was seamless. With my son, we were very fortunate. They have a whole moving crew, which is absolutely wonderful. These people come to your car with their big boxes and move people in. And my son actually met one of the campus ministry folks who he's still friends with. This was somebody who literally was helping us unpack our car, and he mentioned to my son, like, hey, we're having a pizza party tonight, why don't you come? And that's how my son got involved with that particular organization, was just by someone helping to help get the refrigerator out of the car. And the other thing I meant to mention with the last, as far as getting involved, was basketball games. Hopefully that they'll be in. My kids last year were fortunate enough to go to the one in-person basketball game. It was the highlight of their spring. It was a huge thing they were looking forward to. My daughter, as a senior in high school, her brother had gotten an extra ticket for the last home game that they played before everything shut down. And I think that was probably one of the other reasons she sealed the deal. The game versus Villanova, exciting. So they both are looking forward to it as well. To go off topic, sorry, the basketball games, I wanted to add that as well, because I thought that was important. It's a huge part of the fun of Seton Hall.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, it's a big part of their experience at Seton Hall, the Pirate basketball team. Anyone else wants to share their move-in day experience? Or I know one of the things that housing has, highly recommends, or definitely make sure with every item that you're bringing in that they label, put their last name and their room number, just so, because what happens, as Beth was describing, is that you get all these volunteers and they're grabbing and they're looking at the labels. So just make sure that every item that you're bringing in for your student is labeled with their last name, their full name if possible, and their room number. So that's very important. Anyone else?
I would just also say to look at the list of things that you're not allowed to have in your dorm room, which is on the website. So that's pretty clear. And when you're going and shopping for desk lamps and other things, it's important to know the things that you can't have in your room. So I think that's really important. And what was the other thing I was going to say about the moving in? I don't remember. But looking at that list is really, I think, is important.
Oh, thank you, Lisa. Yeah, and I think the other advice is really having your students, especially if they know who their roommates are already, and maybe everyone else can share kind of like how their students actually selected their roommates, because it's different for everyone. But also if they're let's say in a triple, you don't want all three of them bringing a refrigerator. So hopefully that they're speaking to their roommates now about who's bringing what, so there's more coordination. So there's not a lot of things that are being brought that's unnecessary. So that's important. So make sure your students are speaking to each other, their roommates are speaking about who's bringing what, and maybe creating a checklist. That's important. So.
Yeah, that was the other thing, Sandra, was the refrigerator. The school has a rental service where you can rent a refrigerator with a freezer and a microwave. And so each of my children split the cost with their roommate. So it wound up being about $100 for the year. The greatest thing is it shows up in the room before you move in. So it's there, and you leave it in the room when you're moving out, and someone else has to come and pick it up and take it out. And if it ever breaks in the middle of the year, the company comes and either fixes it or replaces it. So that was kind of a nice one less thing for lugging.
Yeah, great advice, definitely. Anyone else wants to share move-in advice or
Well, one thing, when you do have wall hangings, this was something that we weren't aware of. There's restrictions there too in terms of, how high, close to the ceiling, not to interfere with the fire suppression systems, and the kind of fabric or material that's being used over there. So again, that the website that Lisa was talking about would probably have that kind of information as to what you can and cannot put on the wall.
Yeah, and as far as selecting a roommate, I know the orientation weekend, I don't know, are the kids going to have an orientation weekend, Sandro, for the incoming freshmen, that they got to come and stay over?
This year was all virtual. They did a 2-day.
It was all virtual.
Yeah, they didn't do a pirate adventure, unfortunately, but they had an orientation.
Oh, okay. Well, so when John attended the pirate adventure and all of the different activities and meeting the other children that were in the Busino program that weekend, and the kids just connected, and you know, they naturally, you know, just gravitated towards one another, and that was how he ended up, him and his 4 suite mates, you know, really connected that weekend, and they decided to room together, and then they began to correspond from that point forward. And again, like Lisa was saying about the refrigerator, John's direct roommate, he was a legacy. And so his mom knew a lot of the information as well, but they decided who was bringing the refrigerator and the microwave. They rented it. We split the cost, and then who was going to bring brooms and vacuum cleaners and all that kind of stuff. So it is a great opportunity for the kids to start communicating before they move in, is just talking about what it is that they're each going to bring. So like Sandro said, you don't have double and triple of things, and it gives them an opportunity to start bonding before they even move in.
Thank you, Bernadette. And there's a question from Mike Naveen. How would you go about renting the refrigerator and microwave?
There's a link on the Seton Hall website, which actually gives you the company, and you click on it and it gives you your options. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, I'm looking for it right now so I could share it in the chat. So bear with me. I'll make sure I put it in there somehow. Yeah. So there's also a question about, I don't know if any of your students experienced the a bathroom situation in a triple. Do we have to supply toilet paper and cleaning supplies? It's not a silly question. It's a great question.
I can answer that one. My son was in a triple his freshman year. It was 2 boys in one room, 3 boys in another, and you had 5 boys sharing a bathroom. They do have to do their own cleaning, and they do need their own toilet paper. There is a shower curtain that the university has provided in the past. I don't know if that's going to be in the future. It's usually one that needs to be replaced at some point during the year. So it's probably a good idea if someone, you know, if the kid wants, somebody else brings the broom, somebody else can bring the shower curtain type of thing. The other thing I would add to the list of things that you may want to bring is a fan. Some of the rooms on the upper level can get quite warm. Both my kids found a small little fan to be useful.
The other thing is that the students do have access to the local shopping areas. The school bus does take them there. So the Walgreens is walking distance to the center of town, but also the mall and some of the other shops. So they could always pick up something locally if they do forget it or if they have a need during the year.
It goes pretty regularly, I think, to Target, and the kids can do that. But if you're in a suite, you do provide your own toilet paper, paper towels, cleaning supplies, toilet brush, plunger, and those things, especially if it's boys. And so our guys just put together a list, and they kind of divided it. Who had a garbage can for the bathroom? Also, they got a big garbage can for the bathroom, and then they had their garbage cans in their rooms. But it was great to have a big can in the bathroom. And definitely the Seton Hall shower curtain does not last through the year with a lot of traffic. If you get nice bath rugs, don't give them bleach cleaners, because then they're not nice bath rugs after the first cleaning.
Well, I know there's been concerns in regards to roommate selection. It's such an important part of the experience. You know, and I know one of the advice I've heard from parents is that, you know, it's part of life. You're going to meet people that you like, you don't like, but you have to also deal with different personalities. And but there is an opportunity for students to kind of connect and meet others that are like-minded. So I don't know if anyone on the panel could kind of share how your students were able to select their roommates and how did that go, good or bad. If anyone can share a little bit about the process of selecting a good roommate.
Well,
And
Amanda went through the virtual process last year. She didn't have the pirate adventure, which she's still not happy about since her three siblings did and she didn't get it. But from the orientation that they did virtually, there were people that then she connected with after those sessions, and then they did a lot of FaceTiming and almost like, dating for your roommate. They like lots of different questions of, what do you like, what don't you like, and she did okay. So, but it's they have to put in the effort, otherwise. But my boys met the guys at Pirate Adventure. That's where they met their roommates. So.
Thank you, Lisa. Anyone else want to share the roommate selection process?
Both my kids went through the random little questionnaire that Seton Hall puts out. Both have been very happy. The match, I was shocked because I did see the 3 questions that were asked. It's a 3-question little questionnaire. I was not sure how that was going to work, and both of them ended up perfectly fine. My son, his freshman roommate that he actually lived in the room with, decided to return home for his second year because he lived close, but he did want that first year experience of living on campus before he went there. They are still friends, still talk, and he continues to room with some of the other boys in the other suite, and he's still friends with them. And now this year he's added in the mix of some boys he met at Pirate Adventure. So we have a little bit of both going on. My daughter did Totally Blind. She ended up being matched with a girl that she works with, which was still mind-boggling to us because she works at a very small place. And I think there's one other person that was going to Seton Hall that year, and somehow they got matched up from those 3 questions. So she was kind of happy she knew her roommate.
Yeah, everything is not always rosy. I mean, my son did have a good start off with his roommate, but then things did not work out with either, noise level or late night activities and so forth. So they had to bring it up with the mediator or the RA, and they talked it through and they decided to split. So he ultimately worked it out afterwards, and you know I think they found another room for the fella, and Nicholas ended up staying there and finished the semester, I guess, on his own because it was a 2-man room. But at least they were able to work it out and settle, and I guess everybody was happy at that point.
Thank you, Angelos. Thank you, everyone. Any other questions from our parents of incoming students? We have about 9 minutes in this parent discussion. So I know there's other questions in regards, and I think the most important thing, especially first semester of freshman year, how important it is for your students to be successful in the classroom. If any of our parents here on the panel can kind of share an advice of how was your student able to be successful in their first semester? What were some of the things that they took advantage of? Was it the tutoring services, maybe a peer advisor, or a relationship that they were able to form with faculty? Because I think that's important for them to get that head start. And if there's any advice that you can share just based off what your students were able to do or able to take advantage of in regards to the resources that are available to them. Bernadette, if you want to take that question.
Sure. I think in Buccino, the mentors, the peer mentors, was a critical component, especially even before even school starting freshman year. They do a wonderful job of acclimating the students. One of the things that I thought was really tremendous and really wonderful was John's first couple of days of school, his peer mentor in Buccino before classes started, he took him around campus and he got out John's schedule and he literally walked him to every single one of his classrooms to show him, just to show him where the buildings were, where the classrooms were. And that, that was a nice comfort zone. John is now a mentor himself in the program, and he did the same thing for his mentee this past year. And as far as just that the peer communication was critical in them learning how to time manage themselves, the different meetings and things that they have, talking about the schedule. Again, I can't say enough wonderful things about the professors. They really do a great job communicating with their students, and they they really do, I think, teach them about time management, or advise them and guide them, and along with their peers. And while they have an intense schedule, I know that John, who's a really diligent student, has been able to also find a great balance in with having fun and being a part of the whole community. Again, one of the things I know, obviously Seton Hall being a big basketball school, not that everyone's into basketball, but we are a big basketball family, and the recreation center is a wonderful place for especially the incoming freshmen to meet other kids. And they've got about 12 hoops there and courts, and you can go and you can do pickup games, and they've got the whole resource center there. But they also have a rec league as well, and that the kids sign up for, and they love it. They had a great time. And again, I think the more they branch out and meet different groups of people, then in talking to the students in their own classrooms and meeting other kids, and just finding out ways to balance their schedule is probably key, finding that balance. But they do have, between their peer mentors and their professors, I think they do have a good resource there.
Thank you, Bernadette. Anyone else want to share?
Both of my children, we've been have felt very comfortable with talking with the professors if they have any questions about a class. All the professors have wonderful hours that are available to the students, so going to see them, using the different resources on campus. The writing center, a lot, making that transition from high school to college as far as what's expected in writing. The writing center is a wonderful resource that's available. Encouraged, because there is a lot more writing. I forget how many papers my daughter said she wrote this year. It was an incredible number, like 40 papers or something over the course of her freshman year, which was a lot more writing than she was ever exposed to as a high school student. There's also tutors in residence if your child is on campus. The freshman buildings do have tutors available that are other underclassmen who have taken the classes that they're seeking help in, and looking at those typical programs as well. So those would all be options to encourage your student to help make that transition a little bit more seamless, to change from high school class, having every class possibly every day, the same, same time, same place every day, to having one class in the morning, 2 classes in the afternoon, maybe something at night, which is an unusual schedule from what they've accustomed to. So
I think now one of the classes requires them to go to the writing center, and I think it's just to get them comfortable going to the writing center. So then, and I know that my kids were reluctant, and I was like, well, it's required, so I'm going to go and do it. And now they're very comfortable going and doing that. And what is the name of the class, Sandro, freshman year, that all of the students do, where they actually learn a lot of different things, and they have a professor who actually guides them through most things? Is it freshman studies or university?
The university life course.
Course, yeah. So how to use the laundry, and how to make fajitas in the cafeteria, and some of those other things that were really helpful too.
Very helpful classes. The mentors and the instructors having the hours for the students and in their offices. That was very, very helpful. And I just encouraged my son, ask questions during the class, just try to get as much of it and just feel comfortable doing that.
Thank you. I know there was a question in regards, is there a laundry card or do they need cash? I know there's always been questions about Pirates Bucks and Pirates Gold and what is that? And I've been here 9 years and I'm still confused in regards to those two things. So if anyone want to tackle Pirates Gold and Pirates Bucks and how those two things are utilized by your students, Lisa, go right ahead.
Okay, so first of all, laundry is now free or included in your tuition.
Oh, okay.
So pirate bucks are like points that go away after the year. So with your meal plan, you'll get, say, $75 worth of pirate bucks, and they could use that as at any of the food established on campus, the bookstore, but those go away. Pirate Gold is like their own checking account or a debit card. And Pirates Gold, you can deposit money into. There's even places in the village who will accept it with a swipe of their ID, but that's more like having their own little checking account, and it does not go away at the end of the year. It stays all 4 years, and they will refund the balance out of Pirate Gold because it is like a bank account. But bucks, those are use them or lose them. And they used to cover laundry, but now laundry is included.
Now, do I remember correctly? But I think my daughter used to tell me that during the app, you can tell if there's a machine available, that they were able to determine if there was, a machine that was not in use, so that they would know when to go down there.
And when the dryer stopped and when to get your things out of the dryer. And yeah.
So that was very helpful.
Yeah. And they're all now high efficiency, fancy laundry services.
Yes. Smart, smart machines.
All right, we're to the end of our discussion. I just want to make sure that we answered everyone's questions. So if you going again, you're going one more time to see if there's one more question from our parents. If not,
can I just say one thing, Sandro?
Sure, of course.
There's also a Seton Hall Parents Facebook group where a lot of it's monitored by the university. A lot of parents ask questions, not just new parents, but parents throughout the years will ask questions, and there's always a parent who's willing to provide information, give direction, talk offline. So I encourage the parents to look at the parents' Facebook groups and join those, and it's a great way for the parents too to see what's going on and see things that they wouldn't normally hear from their children.
Thank you, Lisa. I just included the link to the Facebook group. It's an incredible community that really helps all parents. It's parents helping parents. You can throw a question in, and you'll probably get 10 comments in a second in regards to anything under the sun that's related to Seton Hall and your students. So
especially for parents who live far away, and the parents who are close are always willing to jump in and help those parents who are in, California or Missouri who might need to get something to their child, or their child needs something, and there's always a parent who jumps in and says, I can help your child. So I think that's
definitely
doctors' recommendations and those things too.
Definitely. Thank you again. Thank you, Lisa, Bernadette, Beth, Joe. I know you're in the background taking care of the puppy. And Angelos, I know he had to step off. But again, thank you for sharing your stories, your advice to our parents of incoming students who will be joining a wonderful community at Stillman. And we all look forward to seeing everyone on campus in the fall. Please have a safe summer, and go Pirates.
Go Pirates.
All right. Take care, everyone. Thank you again.
Bye, Sandra.
Take care. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I think.